something just reached them about you. And I need you to understand what it did to them when it arrived. Because this was not information that landed gently. This was not a small update to an existing picture, a minor detail added to a portrait they already held. This was something that reorganized everything, that made them stop mid whatever they were doing and sit with what they had just learned in the specific, stunned way of someone who has just discovered that the person they were already thinking about is considerably more than they had realized. They thought they knew you. They did not know you. Not fully, not the part that just reached them. And the part that just reached them is the part that has sent their mind into a specific kind of overdrive that they are currently in the middle of and cannot find the exit from. Stay with me, Virgo, because what I received today came through with a vividness and a specificity that I want to make sure reaches you completely. This is not general energy. This is something specific that happened recently that this person is still processing, and I want to walk you through exactly what it was and exactly what it did to them and exactly where it is taking things between you. Let me tell you about the moment it arrived. They were not prepared for it. That is the first thing I want you to understand. Whatever channel the information came through, a conversation with a mutual connection, something they stumbled across, something you said or showed or were in a context they did not expect to see you in it, arrived without warning, without the kind of advance notice that would have allowed them to compose themselves before receiving it. So they received it unguarded. And unguarded is the only way to receive something that genuinely surprises you, with the full, unfiltered response that happens before the brain has had time to process the information and decide how to feel about it. Before the managed version of the reaction can replace the real one was significant. I want to describe it specifically because the energy of it came through so clearly when I sat with this reading. There was a moment, a single identifiable before and after moment where what they were looking at or hearing or reading about you shifted from confirmation of what they already knew to revelation of something they did not. And in that moment, something in them that had been organized around one understanding of who you are had to reorganize around a larger one. That reorganization is what is driving them wild. What did they find out? I feel this question sitting at the center of everything, and I want to address it with as much specificity as the energy allows, which is more specific than you might expect. For some of you, what they found out is about your capacity, something you have done or built or created or accomplished that they did not know about. Not because you are hiding it, you simply do not lead with it. You do not organize your presentation of yourself around your achievements the way some people do. You hold what you have done with a quietness that the people who know you only at the surface level sometimes interpret as nothing to hold. And then something pierced the surface, and what was underneath came into view, and the size of it was not what they were prepared for. They found out what you are capable of, and what you are capable of is considerably more than the version they had been working with. For others of you, what they found out is about your story, a piece of your history, something you walked through that they did not know about, that when it reached them, immediately recontextualized everything about how they understand you. not in the way of making things heavier or more complicated, in the way of making you more legible, of filling in a gap in the picture they had been holding that, now that it is filled, makes the whole portrait make sense in a way it did not before. They found out where some of your depth comes from. And the depth, when they understood its source, moved them in a way that the depth alone, without the context of what produced it, had not. For others, still, what they found out is something about who you are to people who love you, a story someone told, a thing someone said about you in your absence that described you in terms that this person had not heard before, and that landed in them with the specific force of someone else's love for you reaching across and confirming something they had been feeling without having the external validation to fully trust. Someone else told them what you are, and hearing it from someone else in terms they did not select, carrying the weight of someone else's genuine experience of who you are that arrived with a different kind of authority than anything they had received directly. And let me speak to what happened in them after the moment of receiving it. Because the moment itself was one thing. The aftermath is what I want to describe now. The specific quality of the hours and days since they found out what their mind has been doing with the information, where it keeps going when it is not required to be somewhere else. It keeps going to you, not in the general way that someone occupies another person's thoughts when they are liked or found attractive, in the specific way of someone who has been handed a piece of information and cannot stop turning it over, examining it from different angles, holding it up against what they already knew to see how it changes the picture, processing the gap between who they thought you were and who you have just revealed yourself to be. The gap is significant. Not because they thought poorly of you before, they already thought well of you. But thinking well of someone and understanding the full scope of what they are carrying and capable of and have been through are not the same thing. And the full scope, now that it has arrived, is expanding what was already a genuine and real response to you into something larger. Something that is, if they are honest with themselves, a little overwhelming. They are not complaining about being overwhelmed, but they are in it. Let me speak to the specific way this new information is interacting with everything they already felt. Before this, they had a picture, a genuine, based in real observation, accurately constructed picture of you built from whatever access they had. That picture already produced something real in them, already occupied their attention in the specific way that people who matter occupy attention, already made your name different from other names when it appeared in their awareness. And now the picture is larger, not different, larger. Everything they already knew is still true. The warmth is still there, and the precision and the specific quality of your presence that they had already registered and already responded to. None of that has been revised, but it now has a context that deepens it, a dimension that makes what they were already responding to make more sense. Like a piece of music you already loved, suddenly hearing the full orchestration for the first time. You were already the melody. They just heard the arrangement, and the arrangement is extraordinary. You were already the melody. They just heard the arrangement, and the arrangement is extraordinary. I want to stay with this for a moment because I feel it is the most important thing I can say about what is happening in them right now. It is not that they are starting over with a new impression of you. It is that everything they already felt has been given a foundation it did not have before. All the responses they were already having to you, the specific quality of your presence, the way you make them think, the particular pull of being in your orbit, those responses were real before the finding out. They were genuine and they were generating something in this person that was already significant. But they did not have an explanation. The mind, when it produces feelings for which it does not have an adequate framework, sometimes turns a small portion of its resources toward the question of whether the feelings are proportionate, whether the response being generated is too large for the cause, whether what they are feeling makes sense given what they know. The finding out answered that question, not by providing justification for the feeling. Feelings do not require justification, but by providing context, by showing the person on the receiving end of their own response to you that the response is not disproportionate, that the size of what they feel is proportionate to the size of what you actually are, that the specific quality of their reaction to you is not excess but accuracy. They were already measuring you correctly. They just did not know how big the measurement was. Now they do. What it is doing to them is the specific thing that happens when something you care about turns out to be even more than you thought it was. A particular variety of awe that has warmth inside it, that wants to move toward the source of the awe rather than simply observe it from a distance. They want to be closer to you with a new urgency that the information has installed without asking permission. Does this feel like something that recently happened around you, Virgo? Have you noticed a shift in how this person is engaging with you since a certain point? A quality in their attention that has changed, become more focused, more present, carrying something additional that was not there before. Let me know in the comments. Tell me what area of your life you feel this landing in, and tell me if you recognized the moment I was describing, the before and the after, in your own recent experience of this person. Because I feel many of you are in the middle of this right now without having fully understood what changed and why. Let me speak to what they want to do with what they now know. Because knowledge of this kind, the kind that expands your understanding of a person you are already invested in, is not passive. It does not simply sit in you and be appreciated quietly. It produces an orientation, a direction, an impulse to do something with the new understanding that is more than simply holding it. They want to tell you that they know, not in a formal way, not with a declaration or an announcement, but in the specific Virgo fluent way of someone who wants you to understand that they have seen something real about you and that seeing it changed something in them, that what reached them was not processed neutrally, that it mattered, that you matter in a way that has now been confirmed and deepened by what they found out, in a way they want you to feel in how they are with you going forward, even if the thing itself is never directly named. They want the shift to be visible to you. They want you to notice that something changed in them, not to create mystery or to play a game, because the shift is real and authentic and has no strategy behind it, and they believe, perhaps correctly, that you, with your extraordinary perception, will notice it if they simply allow it to be present. They are allowing it to be present. Are you noticing? They are allowing it to be present. Are you noticing? Let me speak to the people around this person, because they have noticed something too. In the days since whatever reached them, this person has been different, not dramatically, not in a way that has produced direct questions from the people closest to them, but in the specific ambient, slightly off their usual frequency way of someone who is processing something significant and is carrying it in the background of their daily life while still showing up for the requirements of their daily life. The people who know them have clocked it. A distraction they cannot fully account for. A quality of being partially elsewhere even when they are physically present. The specific kind of preoccupation that belongs to someone who has been given something to think about that does not let go easily. Something that keeps surfacing in the quiet moments. Something that their mind returns to without being asked. Some of the people around them have asked what is going on. The answers have been vague. Fine, just thinking about something. You know how it is. The vocabulary of someone who is not ready to share what they are carrying, because sharing it would require them to say your name out loud in a context that would make the full weight of how they feel about you visible to an audience. They have not decided to perform that weight for yet. They are keeping it internal for now. But the internal is getting full. And full things have a tendency to eventually find the outlet that lets them breathe. Inhale. I want to speak to something about you that I feel is the foundation of this entire reading and that I do not want to leave unaddressed. You did not engineer this. Whatever the thing was that reached them, the accomplishment or the story or the testimony of someone who loves you, or whatever specific revelation produced this specific response, you did not arrange for it to reach them, did not calculate the impact it would have, did not offer it with awareness of what it would do when received. You simply existed in the full unperformed carrying what you carry way that you always exist. And some aspect of that existence reached someone who was already paying attention in a way that revealed something you were not showcasing. Something that was simply there, as it has always been there, waiting for the right angle of visibility to make it impossible to miss. This is the thing about you that I want you to understand before this reading closes. You do not have to perform what you are. What you are is so genuinely present, so real in the specific, unmanufactured, cannot be faked way of things that are actually what they appear to be, that it keeps reaching people who are paying even minimal attention. It keeps surfacing in conversations you are not part of, in things other people say about you, in the specific quality of who you have been when you thought nobody important was watching. Someone important was watching. What they found out was simply the truth of you. And the truth of you is what is driving them absolutely wild. Let me speak to what comes next, because the energy is moving and I want to tell you which direction it is moving in. This person is approaching you differently. You may have already felt it. The quality of contact that has a new weight to it. Conversations that feel slightly more intentional than the ones that preceded them. An availability in them that has increased. A sense that whatever distance they had been maintaining, whether consciously or simply through the ordinary constraints of two lives that have not yet fully overlapped, has become less acceptable to them. The information removed a layer of comfortable distance, because comfortable distance is easier to maintain when the person at the other end of it is someone you find appealing and interesting and worth knowing. It becomes considerably harder to maintain when they turn out to be everything you already knew, plus considerably more. When the picture you had was already compelling and the new picture is larger, the pull is stronger, the distance is becoming less comfortable. And less comfortable distance in a person who has now had the full scope of who you are confirmed in a way they did not expect tends to move in one direction, toward you. Watch for it, not with held breath. Simply with the open, grounded awareness of someone who knows something is approaching and is ready to receive it without having to reach for it. It is already reaching. As I close this reading, I want to say something directly to the part of you that is sitting with this and feeling underneath the warmth of it a small question about whether you deserve to be found out in this way. To have someone respond to what you are with this quality of response. You do, not because you earned it through any specific thing you did or have been, because what they found out about you is simply true. And true things, when they are found by people with eyes clear enough to see them, produce exactly the response you are receiving. This is not more than you deserve. This is what is proportionate to what you actually are. Let it be proportionate. Let yourself be found out. You are worth every single thing it is driving them to feel. Leave me a comment below. Tell me what you think they found out. Tell me which category resonated most, the capacity, the story, or the testimony of someone who loves you. Tell me if you have been feeling the shift in their energy since the finding out. I read every single word. Every comment, every story matters to me deeply. Until next time, Virgo, they found out. And what they found out is not something they are recovering from. It is something they are leaning all the way into.